Be a darlin' and pour me a shot of your signature drink." The drunken tramp slurred at the bartender. "And I'ma tell you all the truth 'bout that bastard Fredrin." People in Los Pecados had long since memorized tales about Fredrin, but his name was still like a siren call, alluring anyone who'd heard it toward its source. "2 shots for our good friend," a young smuggler spoke up, tossing a handful of pennies onto the counter. "A mighty fine gentleman. I'll make it worth your while, I assure ya." "This one's something y'all have never heard of," the tramp exclaimed. Everyone in the bar had their eyes on the grimy tramp, save for the man drinking alone in the hidden corner, a compass clenched tightly in his hand. "The story begins over a dozen years ago," the tramp commenced, sounding surprisingly sober after taking a swig of his drink. After receiving his fief, Duke Vance of Castle Grand Rock opened up the seaborne trade route to Northern Vale. Merchant ships from the north, all laden with rare produce, and all trading exclusively with the Duke. Why, the old weasel was practically bathing in profits. The tramp took another gulp, looking around at the greasy faces eagerly waiting for the next part. But riches and prestige gave the Duke little pleasure. He continued, if any. This newfound wealth only served to stir in him an even greater desire to climb to the very top of the imperial nobility. The Duke began to discipline his children with stringent rules, punishing any child who dared disobey his words for once. "I'm damn glad I ain't some rich codger's son," the smuggler interjected. "And you wouldn't be alone," the tramp replied. One of the Vance boys gave the Duke an endless headache. This young'un had no interest in the rules and etiquettes of the nobles, and had a hankering for freedom and adventure. The Duke didn't want the brat's nasty ideas infecting the other children's minds, so he arranged for the boy to study at the Monastery of Light. Pretty convenient excuse to suck up to the monastery's archbishop, the barkeep chimed in. "Well, you'd be right," the tramp replied. As the Duke was in dire need of stronger political allies, the boy, however, had other plans. Having overheard his father's arrangement, the little rascal decided to sneak out of the castle and sail off on a so-called adventure of his own. "I reckon the Duke wouldn't have much to worry about, though," the smuggler butted in again. "Spoiled little brat like him. He'd soon be running back to his daddy." The Duke figured as much," the tramp responded. Old Vance was bloody livid, but didn't even bother looking for his boy. The brat, however, proved far more robust than his father thought. He was no adventurer, mind ya, but with his courage, wit, and excellent judgment, the boy slipped through every obstacle that came his way. He had a particular fondness for exploring the most treacherous areas still uncharted by man, and soon his name spread throughout the land of dawn. Yet no one knew about his past life. The tramp took a long pause, as if waiting for someone to respond. What all he got were blank faces and some glazed-over eyes. "Oh, y'all gotta be kidding me," he grunted with a sigh and a roll of his eyes. The boy was Fredrin Vance. His revelation was met with yet another round of silence. But as realization dawned upon his audience, the tavern erupted into an uproar. Fredrin, the nobleman. Why, the bunk's a bloody crook. A burly man with a horned helmet cut in. His eyes bulging, they almost popped off their sockets. "No one knows that money grubber better than me," the man exclaimed, No matter how much you prepare in advance, the bloodsucker will always ask for a higher price. Why? A gang boss himself barged into his shop to personally deliver his payment. Loaded pistol pointed right between Fredrin's eyebrows. Bastard didn't even flinch, and instead asked for more money. The young smuggler raised his hand. But is it true what they say about him? No question, Anne. No disclosure policy about his appraisal of hunted treasures. The burly man replied, "Don't matter who you are. The scoundrel sticks to his guns. Ain't no compelling him, not even by force. What you gon' do? Raid his treasure shop. Get yourself ready for a beat, and then per the customs of Los Pecados. And if you're lucky enough to wake up, all damaged items must be paid in double, not a single dime less. Come on, we all know about those," the tramp cried out, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "But what about Fredrin's secret, that crystal lodged in his chest?" The crowd fell eerily silent, only to erupt into wild cheers moments later. Even the barkeep poured another shot for the tramp to keep him talking. The crystal is said to come from the ruins of a lost civilization. It seals an ancient power, coveted even by the king of Abyss. Fredrin went to great lengths to get his hands on this crystal, even killing his own partner in this process. The man sitting in the corner walked over, interrupting the tramp's words. His brawny frame towered over everyone in the tavern. His eyes burned with disdain as he gazed upon the lesser men surrounding him. Embedded in his scarred chest, right at the place of his heart, a strange crystal pulsated with a ghostly glow. Fredrin, the tramp, and the burly man stuttered in awe. The tin wine box in Fredrin's hand creaked as his fist clutched. "A wonderful story, my friend," Fredrin stated calmly. "However, if I hear anyone say I killed my partner again, I'll come to his door and give him a thorough appraisal." Fredrin walked out of the bar after those words, his blood and memory surging through him. The shrewd and revered treasure appraiser of Los Pecados was once a passionate and adventurous boy who wanted to escape his noble status. Always at his side was a friend who'd go through anything with him, Frey. Except Frey was gone on their last adventure together. The two stumbled upon an ancient altar. A giant crystal hovered at its center, radiating with an ominous glow. Frey warned his partner, but the young and reckless Fredrin couldn't escape the allure. He approached the altar and laid his hand on the crystal, disrupting the balance of an ancient ward. In the process, a ghostly figure in a black cloak emerged from the center of the altar. "You two will be the final offering." Those were the last words Frey and Fredrin heard before the altar began to collapse under the weight of ancient magic, trapping the two amidst the chaos. "Fredrin, this time, it's my turn to save you." Frey, who'd always hidden behind Fredrin, picked up a shard of the crystal and pressed it against Fredrin's chest, giving up to him the only chance of survival. The power of the crystal integrated with Fredrin's own and protected him from the collapse. But when he looked up, he found Frey and the ruins both gone without a trace. The only thing left was Frey's magic compass. Fredrin found a new quest the moment he opened the compass. The blue pointer recorded Frey's trace of life. It spun wildly and vibrated like tiny heartbeats. Frey's still alive, to look for clues that could lead to Frey's whereabouts. Fredrin stayed in Los Pecados as a treasure appraiser. He accumulated his funds to build a vast intelligence network that gathered any knowledge related to the ruins. The cost didn't matter. Standing in front of a wall of clues, Fredrin stared at the magic compass in his hand as long as the pointer's still spinning. I will not give up. Thank you.